guests on Facebook. I'd love to have you right there with us. So let's, how that is the music? There we go.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.
As long as you've got love.
What's on your mind?
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?
What do I think? That is a big question. I don't know if any of you saw, I'm sure some of you did, saw the new New York Mayor Mondavi on the air, and it's a new day, it's a new generation. There's a song about that. I just am totally blown away. I'm particularly blown away. Actually, I'm not. I mean, I guess this would be expected. But I am particularly blown away by the fact that there was no conciliatory speech towards the fact that we need to get together here and try to rebuild New York. What we heard is that those that have been stepped on by the man are going to rule now, and that the people who were in power are no longer in power, and that will be a very, very long day, long time, and that this is the beginning of something new, and the free buses are going to roll, and this, that, and the rent control, and, you know, he is going forward. There was no thought that he might have want to be a little conciliatory towards those that have the money. No, they have the power, so that's all that matters. I think they're going to be sadly disappointed when you don't have the money, you really don't have the power. I mean, those two do kind of go together, but just to give my spin on it a little bit, I did find the New York Post with their cover was rather interesting. It shows the socialist, the hammer and sickle, and the red apple on your Marx with, you know, spelling it Marx, M-A-R-X. Get set, Zo. Socialist Mondami wins race for mayor. The red apple and the R is backwards. So I guess that's what they're looking forward to. But as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, you know, we may need a couple of things. One of the things that I think we may need here in South Carolina, you know, tariffs are all the rage. In fact, they're in front of the Supreme Court this morning. So we'll get to see whether the Supreme Court agrees with President Trump that the tariffs are legal. But that's a story for another time. But that is in front of the Supreme Court today. But I was thinking about the use of tariffs and how we could use tariffs. And I thought we might need tariffs for New York people moving to South Carolina. If you want to move to South Carolina, we're not going to just say, come on down, let's get everybody here, we love having you here, yada, yada, bring your money. No, we're going to employ the Trump effect. We would love to have you, but it's going to cost you to come here. What do you think about that idea? 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. I think that could work for us and I think Florida might want to do something. This idea of just throwing the doors open and welcoming everybody in is not working. So let's just charge them a tariff to come in, a golden ticket, if you will. This was another idea that President Trump had. If you want to come live in South Carolina, we'll take you, but you need to pay an exorbitant amount of money to support your coming to our state. I think that has possibilities. All right. Now, that's one idea. That is one idea. My other thought is they need, just depending how fast people leave New York. A lot of people, they talk, oh, I'm leaving the country. Oh, I'm leaving if so-and-so, and then they don't leave. But if some of these very rich millionaires and the people that employ a lot of people, et cetera, decide it's time to leave, I think that Mondani might need to put a wall to keep rich people in New York. That's my other thought. He may have to have a wall put around there so you can't leave the state of New York. Of course, no one will want to go there anyway, so there you go. It'll be okay. But a wall to keep the rich people of New York in may be what's coming up there to New York. Of course, he doesn't get in until I think it's January 1st is when he will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City. But there was a lot of high excitement last night as his team became totally excited that they had won. There are some other things in his speech that were rather interesting, but the bottom line is he believes that he has a movement, he has a way to succeed, and that the only thing is, thank God, because he is an immigrant, he cannot be president of the United States. However, this thing has legs. It has a lot of people behind it, and of course, a lot of people are going to be analyzing this. To me, yesterday when Fox had Cuomo on, and one of the talk show hosts said, "Would you just like to apologize to the people of New York City for your behavior, for the way you led the state with the issues of COVID?" He didn't just say, "Oh my God, yes, thank you for giving me this opportunity." No, he had to go around the bush and tell all these other stories how it was new. I think I mentioned this yesterday. But if anybody was even thinking about voting for Cuomo, it would have that might have changed my mind. If you can't even apologize and realize that you were in the wrong. But anyways, that's that story. In New Jersey, I was a little shocked that Cyber Jack, whatever his name is, the guy who was, I can say his name when I can see it. I can't always say it if I'm just, well, and the other thing is, Siwa up there for the red beret wearing Republican in the race. Between he and Cuomo, they got about 50% basically. Some got a little bit over, some got a little less. But it had he dropped out, would it have made a difference? I don't think so. But that will be the discussion for a very, very, very long time. But the man that could be New Jersey's governor, the Republican, just wasn't close there to make that. In fact, he was further down than he was during President Trump's This must have been his last election. He was further down. He was within 7 points the last time, and this time he was much further down. So I'm not sure what happened there, but he got smoked there. And then, of course, in Virginia, I was hoping that Winsome Sears would be our winner, but no. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. The Spanberger won the election in Virginia. Winsome Sears was defeated, and also the Attorney General, the guy that said those horrible things about killing his opponent and wanted to see the children of his opponent die in his wife's arms. He won. So this was a total rebuke, really, of President Trump. Now, we know that this usually happens. But this was a rather strong rebuke, I would say. I'm not sure, but the Republicans need to get their act together because they got Prop 50, whatever, out there in California. Now that passed out there, so the California and the defiant Newsom they're going to be redrawing their districts to really redraw out Republicans. And of course that started because Texas, President Trump asked Texas to redraw their district, and Newsom said, if they do that, we'll do this. Well, guess what? California did it, and now they will have more Democrats there. So this isn't working out very good for that kumbaya movement that we all were thinking we might have. I don't even know how it's going to affect the government shutdown. A lot of people had thought, and I thought that it was a good point, that we get through the election and the Democrats might decide to come to the table. They're thinking since they did so well, they're just going to hang tight and see if they can bring the Republicans to their knees. I don't think our forefathers saw this as a way to do government. I think they thought that respectful discourse and listening would give us the both sides of the issue. That is not what's happened. People are going to be more dug in than ever, I do believe. So that's just my little bit of commentary about the big elections. There may have been some more, but those are the ones that we all were watching to see where it was going. But I can tell you this, if this is a forerunner of what is going to happen in next year's elections, the Republicans had better get their act together and work hard starting now to make sure that they are not in this position. All right, that was on the state and national elections. Here, last night's municipal elections around the area. Mayor Viggo Lassen won unofficial 100% reporting on local boards. And of course, they have huge fiscal issues that they're going to be going on with. But he has been elected. The former mayor, was going to do a write-in campaign. Doesn't look like his write-in campaign, as he sat there and said, oh yeah, I'm going to win. Remember that in one of the meetings that they had. Ware Scholes, I'm not seeing, the most recent, then I guess we didn't have that one. 96, they have had some winners. I'm trying to get some information. So we will go over here and see what it says over here as far as reports on who all won in the elections. I know that, I know that, let's see, maybe I've got it right here. I looked it up last night. I knew who it was last night. I guess I didn't save that information. Yes, Lassen, that is in the mayor's race. Viggo Lassen, 210 votes, defeated Lassine Toot for 115 votes, and Wayne Postel, 117. And the write-in candidate got 17, and that was the mayor. So that was Lassen will succeed Mayor Tarico Holland and serve a 4-year term overseeing the town operations. So that is that one. Let's see. In 96, who won the race in 96? Price? Well, will Price win the race in 96? I'm not seeing it. Where is it? Let's see what we got here. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I will have to go over here and see if I can find it. I had it last night. Who won over there in 96? That was an interesting race. That's what I'm looking for. We'll come back and get that information. I think I must have gotten it from somewhere over here. All right, let's go on. All right, moving on here this morning. I'm sorry, we'll get the 96. That's an interesting race on who won that. If anybody has that information, 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. What else do we have going on here this morning? Well, I did hear some other interesting stories here I wanted to share with you. Let me see if I can find it. Well, did I not send? Okay. All right. Let's see. What else did I have here? I went to yesterday morning. A Veterans Day celebration for our veterans that are out at Wesley Commons. It was absolutely a very memorable Veterans Day ceremony, and there were a lot, as you can imagine, at Wesley Commons, veterans that were there. This was very well put on. They gave certificates, they gave dog tags, they gave a bracelet that had all the different parts of the service, all the different divisions of the service. And I think as I watched this service and as each veteran's name was called out, they were asked if they could stand, they would stand. If not, they could raise their hand and they would come and help them, give them their award, their certificate, their dog tags. And these were dog tags that had been made. I think they had the American flag on one of the dog tags, and I don't remember what was on the other. But they gave him their dog tags, and they put them over their neck. And, you know, I always say that when a veteran is being given something of importance, that they stand a little taller because they remember what it was like to be in the military, what was required of them, and what they needed to do. And it was the same there. The veterans that were taking these around saluted them, shook their hand, and it was just a wonderful ceremony. I don't know how else to describe it other than to use these words. They talked about what it meant to be a veteran. They talked about the fact that once you gave your life to the military, you didn't own your life. They told you what to eat. They told you when to eat. They told you when to do this, when to do that. And you just did it. And as I was sitting there thinking about it, I said to myself, I wonder if that's why we have our veterans that have so many problems when they get out of the military, because they've been so focused on what the mission is that they have, at a point in time, at a point in time that they were so focused on what their mission was that they couldn't remember how to live in society. Now, once they are released, a lot of people get back into society and get into making their own decisions. But then there are those that suffer from a lot of PTSD, who suffer from the separation from the Army. And so, but I just thought that was so interesting. You don't own your life when you're in the Army. You eat what they tell you to eat. You go where they tell you to go. You do exactly as you're told. And I just thought that was an interesting point. But the love of country, the love and respect that each of these veterans showed each other, and it was amazing. Now, they did not have anybody that had retired or was a former Space Force person, but they did have members from each of the branches of the service. So I got a call that afternoon before, and I said, okay, I'll go. And I am so glad I went. It was a lovely ceremony, well attended. Men and women were receiving awards. We get to the end of it, though, and they introduced the people that were helping with giving out the awards to the different veterans and making sure the music and everything was being done. And one gentleman was married to a woman from Vietnam. And she got up and spoke a few words. And basically what she said is, you have no idea. And this is on Election Day, which I found interesting, since we just have put a socialist, a democratic socialist, I believe is what they call him, Mondavi, into office. And she said, you have no idea what it means to be free. Her husband, I guess, went back. If I'm understanding the story, her husband went back. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was in Vietnam. They met. He went back for her. And she said when they got to maybe Detroit, I don't remember where they flew into. When she got off the plane, she told her husband she just wanted to kiss the ground. I don't know about you, but I think we do take our freedom for granted. So that was one person. There was also a gentleman there who had served in our military, who had grown up in Vietnam, from Vietnam, and he had served with our military. He spoke about, you just don't know what you're saying when people say they want socialism or communism. I had the opportunity to speak to both of them afterwards, and we're actually going to have them on the show to talk about their experiences in Vietnam and what it has meant to be an American. They came in the right way, they became citizens, but what it meant to be an American, having lived under the communism. And what the one lady said was, one day we were free, the next day we weren't. And that really was chilling to me, to think about the fact that when Vietnam fell, all of a sudden everything changed. And nobody could count on anything to be the same. So I'm looking forward to having her and the gentleman that served, both from Vietnam, on the air with us. That was one thing that I thought was most important. But we have a lot of Veterans Day events coming up. Tomorrow there is a luncheon at Harris Baptist Church for our veterans Friday morning. There is a breakfast at Hospice House for our veterans. Sunday is the Veterans Day Parade, and then on Tuesday is actually Veterans Day. And of course, that will be an official holiday. I will tell you this, tried to go to a government website to upload some information, and they big red banner across it. What does it say? Some functions of our website may not be working due to lack of government funding. I was like, what? Anyways, that was something that I thought was a little interesting. The more this goes on, the worse it's going to get for our community, for all of our communities. I'm a little surprised. I don't know whether I talked about this yesterday or not. I'm a little surprised the federal government says they're going to be paying half the benefits for those on SNAP. My solution would be, let's pay the people that really need the benefits, not those able-bodied ones that can get up and get out and go to food banks. Let's pay the people that are in the mothers with children, seniors, and those on disability. Let's pay those, and let's say the able-bodied people, I'm sorry, but you need to get out, get a job, get to the food banks, and get the food so that you can survive. If anything, I think this is teaching us a big lesson about just because you're in power doesn't mean you have everything going your way. I am actually kind of sad that our country is in this place where we are. It just seems like it is totally unnecessary to be here, but we certainly are in this place. If you have any thoughts about it, I'd love to hear from you. 864-332-9395. That's I don't know. I always am an optimist. But I'm going to tell you what. My optimism has taken a big hit for our country. I am certainly glad I am at the stage that I am in life. I know that if you're a young person, you're probably going, yeah, she's old. Get her out of here. Next. But it does make me sad to think that we are at a point in our lives where nothing makes sense, and that they do say that we should see more of this socialist experiment. And if we do see more of this social experiment, it is not going to do us well. So that's a little bit about that. Not much else that I can say. Just one of those things. So I guess we just go on, move on, and hope futuristically that we can find a way out of this. All right, that's about all that I have for today. I realize this isn't up to my usual standard of a show, but this is one of the things I was looking for. I realize this isn't up to my usual standard, and I apologize. But it is what it is, and I take these things very hard. I did want to give you who did win in 96. Voters in Ward 1 chose incumbent Councilman Mickey Goodman and Jimmy Brown. Voters chose between incumbent Councilmember Mickey Goodman and Jamie Brown, Mayor Greg Brown's wife. Goodman was elected to represent the ward with 15 votes. This is another travesty. 15 votes. That was Ward 1. Ward 3. The Ward 3 race featured April C. Prater and former mayor of 96, Michael Rowe, and a write-in candidate. Prater captured the seat with 26 votes. Ward 5. Voters selected from Kaylee Callahan, 1 vote, Richard Jones, 37 votes, and Grayson Irene Price, who won with 41 votes for the 4-year term. Dwight Herring was lone active candidate for the Commissioner of Public Works seat after Bridget Porter withdrew. He won the seat with 174 votes. So it says Herring will continue his work on major infrastructure projects, including wastewater system upgrades and maintenance planning. But that is who won the races. I think one of the things you should notice, the numbers are just so small. Anytime you think your vote doesn't count, all you need to do was look at a race like 96. We've had races in Greenwood, Abbeville, and the surrounding area where 1 or 2 votes made the difference in whether somebody won the election or not. So here's what I have to say. Make sure that when you are told to vote, please vote. Please vote. Also saw that was from the Index Journal. Also saw another one. Another issue that Abbeville City Council censured the city's mayor Tuesday night. So that is over there in Abbeville. You know, they've got ethics violations. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. Mayor Trey Edwards received a formal censure on 2 ethics violations. An overflow crowd attended City Council on Tuesday evening to watch the council consider arguments on 3 ethics complaints made by business owner Robert Weichman, Police Chief Nick Moore, and Tim Hall, the city's Director of Public Utilities Department. At the end of a 3-hour meeting, council members supported censuring Edwards over violations alleged by Weichman and Moore. Council members tied on the vote regarding Hall's complaint. Independent counsel Tripp Padgett said, as a result of the tie, there is no infraction. On over Weichman's complaint, the council backed 1 infraction for improper use of city officials and resources. Over Moore's complaint, the city blocked 1 infraction for conflict of interest and 1 for improper use of city officials and resources. An admonition is useless as a matter of public record, said Councilman Jason Edwards. After Padgett brought the issues up for vote, he suggests the council vote for a censure. It is important to show the community that we are self-governable and that we hold each other accountable, Jason Edwards said. A censure is an official disciplinary report by the council, Padgett said. It's almost like a resolution. It has no other consequences. It just carries a heavier weight than a reprimand. Weichman's complaint centers on a complaint form about whether Councilman Matt Gambrell had a license for a business called 4G's Landworks. Moore's complaint focused on claims that Edwards had filed complaints against businesses that competed against businesses in which he had a financial stake. So that's Hall's complaint centered on what he called retaliation by Edwards against him and his department after the city sought payment on an overdue $1,000 deposit for utility service at Soggy Bottom Barbecue. So they have censured their mayor. I don't know if there's any other things other than they have censured the mayor. But I would not want to have that on my record. So that's a few of the things going on that I know about here this morning. I think a lot of this deserves a lot deeper dive into what is happening. Now, I did have one little short story to kind of tie this up at the end. Retail therapy. This morning on the news on WCRS, they were talking about a study and how they have been able to prove that women feel better when they get to go shopping, retail therapy. And I said to myself, that's part of the problem. You know, back in the day, you just get in the car, go to a mall, go to a shopping center, and shop until you dropped. Now, what do a lot of people do? They shop online. I just don't think it's as satisfying. For me, I'll just be quite frank, when I used to do a lot of shopping, just going in and trying on a bunch of clothes, whether I bought anything or not, was significant. I felt so much better after I'd gotten out of there. But now, and you know, I used to love catalogs. All the catalogs, particularly that came out for Christmas. And I'd go through and I'd be picking out things I liked. And whether I really needed them or not was not the issue. But I liked this item. I like gadgets. So I thought that I'd always find some cool gadget that I thought was so cool. Now, what is your catalog? It is online. And it's covered with pop-up ads, so you can't even look at what you want to look at. I was trying to look at something the other day. Oh, my God. I couldn't even see the whole description for it for the pop-up ads. Anybody had that problem? 864-332-9355. But I will say that it's just not the same as it used to be when we could go and have some fun just going shopping, whether you bought anything or not. The idea of that you could buy something would make it so exciting. So anyways, that was my little fun story here. I like retail therapy, and I don't get the same jolt out of it when I buy something online as I do when I actually go and pick it out and try it on or have a good idea that it's going to fit. So I just go, well, if it doesn't, I could send it back. But anyways, retail therapy, something from the past. I like retail therapy. I have been a big proponent of retail therapy and am sad that we do not have as much retail therapy. Yes, we have some stores, but it's not the same as going in the big department stores and the big shopping malls and then stopping and having a nice little snack or something and going back and shopping more. Does anybody remember those fun times that we used to have? Huh? Or has your brain been brainwashed to believe you don't need it anyways? Just get what you need from Amazon. Be happy. Sometimes that's how I feel. All right. We've got coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow is Shelley Reed and Long Shadows will be playing for a special performance. You have to already have your tickets. There's no tickets available now, but it is going to be going on at the cinemas, the Lux 10 cinemas here in Greenwood. This is before it goes nationwide. This movie is going to go nationwide. We had Shelley Reed on a week, 10 days ago. Great interview, talked about how he writes, his style, and about working on this movie. As you know, he actually was a character in the movie, as is Granger Hines. So from that standpoint, that was a fascinating one, and that premiere is tomorrow evening. All right. Also coming up on Thursday. This is also on Thursday. If you can't go see Long Shadows, here's what I've got for you. A budget-friendly movie option. Check out Thursday's Popcorn in the Park at Magnolia Park right here in Greenwood. It's free, family-friendly movie night in the city of Greenwood. Bring broad blankets and lawn chair and go have a good time at the movies. That's going on in Uptown at Magnolia Park. Then Friday through Sunday, St. Mark's United Methodist Church, 550 South Carolina Bypass, is hosting its Tinsel and Treasure Sale. That is another good one. They'll have vintage and holiday items, a lot of different price points. First day of the sale is a preview day with shopping hours noon to 2 p.m. or 4 to 6. Preview admission is $5 and includes a holiday gift box. Regular shopping hours are 9 to 5 Saturday and noon to 2 on Sunday. So that is what they're doing at St. Mark's. Friday at 3 p.m., Newberry Opera House hosts the Trey Twitty and Tyla Lynn, who carry on the legacy of their grandparents, Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn. So you can get information on that from the Newberry Opera House. The Art Center of Greenwood invites you to celebrate Native American Heritage Month. Saturday, 10 to noon, there will be Catawba storytelling and crafts. The Catawba Indian Nation is a federally recognized tribe in South Carolina. Storyteller Becky Simmons Garris, born and raised on the Catawba Indian Reservation in Rock Hill, will share traditional stories. There'll also be a clay-making station, free popcorn, and a scavenger hunt. This is free and open to the public. That sounds like a really fascinating exhibit or show that they're going to be having at the Art Center. Then they are having right over here at the Main Event Restaurant and Lounge, comedy and cocktails. That will be going on. So that will be going on Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Main Event, and scheduled to perform are Lawrence Owens and Ain't Got No Sense. Tickets are available online at Eventbrite. And so that is going on. Then over in Abbeville at 7:30, stand-up comedian Andy Benejo takes the stage at the Abbeville Opera House, known for his clean and relatable comedy. So that tickets are $25. Purchase them online at aftontickets.com. So that's going on. Saturday also at the Newberry Opera House, Canadian folk trio The Waylon Jennies will be singing over there. And of course, Sunday is the Veterans Parade. That begins at 2 p.m. By the way, the Girl Scouts are going to be collecting hats and gloves right there as they march in the parade. So if you have collected some of those, bring them to the parade, and they will what? They will make sure that they are picked up, and then they'll be given to the Veterans Center to give out. So that is another good thing. Don't want to forget about the Veterans Valor Program. That is going on October 13th, so that is next Thursday. You must get an appointment, 864-450-9268. The Veterans Day Parade, yes, November 9th. That is this Sunday. If you'd like to sign up for it, you could give them a call, see if they can work you in. 864-229-0726, 864-229-0726. That is George Watson. Give him a call. He is the one that is setting that up, as well as Irene Price at 864-450-9048. The Veterans Breakfast is at the Hospice Store. That is Friday, November 7th at 9 a.m. And, of course, the Ashley Square Lunch. That was, you were supposed to sign up for that. That is going to be an excellent event at the Harris Baptist Church, and that is on Thursday. Doors open at 11. They'll start serving lunch at 11:30. Program starts at 12. This afternoon, we are going to have Rob Jones with Patterson Insurance discussing all the Medicare issues. So if you've got a question, You can text or call and leave a message. That message gets turned into a text. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. He will be here from 5 to 6. He will be here from 5 to 6. So please tune in for that. Lots of valuable information. The thing about it is things keep changing. Things keep changing on Medicare, your insurance, and this type of thing. So if you are particularly a senior citizen, you need to make sure you are making sure that you are in the right program for what you need. So Rob and his group over there at Patterson Insurance are great at helping show you what the benefit is by the different companies that they handle. And of course, you can take that information and get more information. But this is something you should do every year. That is what I got to say, I think, this morning. I am Ann Eller. I am, as I said, a little down about how things worked out. But it is what it is. And people must wake up and realize that it's not a given. It's not a given that the right person wins. And of course, the right person is always based on our own perspective, isn't it? So with that, I will leave you. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. I hope you get out there and enjoy this day. It is a beautiful day out there. Right now, 60 degrees. We are headed for a nice warm 74 degrees, folks. Tonight's supposed to get down to 45. We are going to have plentiful sunshine. Thursday is a ditto day. Friday is a football day. First Friday of the playoffs of note. Emerald High School. Emerald will be playing right here on WCRS. They will be playing Fountain Inn. I believe that is an away game. So that's Friday is a ditto day. Saturday, pretty much of a ditto day. Maybe a chance of a shower, but not very much. And on Sunday, a ditto day. So we are in the lower 70s and upper 40s at night. This is the kind of weather we live for. Other than it's getting dark too early, Ann. Yes, I know. That is going to do it for me. Have a great day. Tune in at 5 if you'd like some information about what you need to do about your Medicare supplements, etc., etc. Bye-bye, everybody.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.
As long as you've got love.
What's on your mind?